There is an important reason for why corporations should switch away from DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, to scientific decision-making processes. And you've seen probably all the political backlash against DEI, with major companies like Walmart and Tractor Supply scaling back these policies after consumer backlash and after certain politicians, including the current president, be criticizing DEI. You've seen a lot of cultural figures and politicians and so on talking about DEI hires as unqualified. The critics say DEI undermines meritocracy, and of course we've seen it trigger cultural backlash like consumer protests. Reversals of DEI, however, can alienate employees who value equity and inclusion. Rebranding DEI, as some companies have done, risks alienating both supporters and detractors. With companies replacing DEI with terms like belonging or culture, that has not worked out so well because critics still view rebranding as cosmetic, not meaningful reform, and supporters see it as retreat under political pressure. Perceptions of inauthenticity damage internal trust and morale and consumer trust and morale. So for both employees and consumers, it damages trust and morale. Rebranding fails to address the root cause of opposition. Misinformation about quotas and reverse discrimination still persists. That's why a much better approach is scientific decision-making practices. DEI has been shown to be effective in improving corporate performance, but it's not necessarily because of the inherent nature of DEI itself, anything about diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity, equity, inclusion facilitates structured decision-making processes. So let's take out the DEI label and just focus on the structured decision-making. The fairness, equal opportunity, better team outcomes, everyone can agree on those without the politicized nature of DEI. Decision-making science enables good decision-making, which is, of course, what people within DEI would hopefully advocate for, without divisive branding, without divisive identity politics. Objective systems create fairer outcomes across all employee groups. So, think about things like structured interviews. Now, DEI advocates have been for structured interviews because, of course, they help address bias. And decision-making science has been for structured interviews because it helps you make better decisions. It helps you not favor people who are like you. And of course, you don't want to hire too many people like you in the company because you need different strengths and skills. So that's an example. Same thing about promotions. Promotions should be based on metrics which reinforce transparency and merit rather than personal relationships and liking. Inclusive decision-making helps make sure that the decision is better. We've seen things like crowdsourcing and diverse group decision-making having better decision outcomes than decisions made by people who are homogeneous. Standardized resource allocation, fair and transparent, minimizes favoritism concerns. Clear processes for conflict resolution rather than traditional favoritism-based approaches reduce politicization and mistrust. That creates decision-making systems that are scalable, sustainable, and embedded in daily operations. Having that objective approach builds trust, diffuses politics, and drives performance. Metrics-based decisions respond to critics of ideological bias. They don't have a leg to stand on because it's based on clear, business-oriented objective metrics. Transparent systems help also reassure underrepresented employees because they know they won't be judged based on their identity. Fair practices support talent attraction and employee retention. Data-driven outcomes outperform just things like sporadic DEI workshops, which don't really have that great of an outcome anyway. Universal fairness appeals across political and generational lines. It's a very partisan supported approach. Organizations can thus gain a competitive edge through innovation and trust by using scientific decision-making practices. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps other people discover the show and helps us improve the show. And if you have any questions, email me at Gleb, Gleb, at disasteravoidanceexperts.com.